Why walking away breaks their ego. Stoicism. Intro. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop chasing someone, something changes? The moment you stop explaining yourself. The moment you stop begging for attention. The moment you stop reacting to disrespect. The moment you simply walk away. Suddenly, they start wondering what happened. Why isn't he calling anymore? Why isn't she reacting? Don't they care? What changed? Sometimes your absence communicates more powerfully than your presence ever could. And this is one of the deepest lessons of Stoicism. You don't need to control other people to become powerful. You need to control yourself. Welcome back to the channel. If you enjoy practical Stoic wisdom that can help you become mentally stronger, calmer, and more disciplined, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Today, we're going to explore why walking away can break someone's ego, and why, from a Stoic perspective, walking away isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your peace. But there's something important you need to understand. Walking away doesn't always break someone's ego. And it shouldn't be done with the intention of hurting them. The real power comes from reaching the point where you no longer need their reaction. Let's begin. 1. Walking away removes their power over you. Think about what happens when someone realizes they can control your emotions. They ignore you. You chase them. They disrespect you. You explain yourself. They become distant. You become desperate for answers. They provoke you. You react. And eventually, they learn something. I can control this person's emotional state. That is where the problem begins. The Stoics understood that your greatest possession isn't money, status, relationships, or popularity. It's your ability to govern your own mind. Epictetus taught that some things are within our control and others are not. You cannot control whether someone respects you. You cannot control whether someone appreciates you. You cannot control whether someone stays. But you can control whether you continue standing in a place where you are repeatedly disrespected. Walking away says, "You don't control my emotional state anymore." And that can be extremely uncomfortable for someone who is accustomed to having influence over you. Because suddenly, their power disappears. 2. Your attention is a form of power. We often underestimate the value of attention. But attention is one of the most valuable things you can give another person. When someone knows they can always get your attention, they may stop appreciating it. You respond immediately. You answer every message. You explain every misunderstanding. You defend yourself against every accusation. You keep checking their social media. You keep asking what is wrong. You keep trying to repair something they aren't even trying to repair. And eventually, your attention becomes predictable. But when you withdraw, not as a manipulation tactic, but because you have decided to protect your peace, the dynamic changes. They may suddenly realize, I don't have unlimited access to this person's attention anymore. That realization can challenge the ego. But remember, the Stoic isn't thinking, how can I make them miss me? The Stoic is thinking, why did I give so much of myself to someone who didn't value it? That's the difference between emotional manipulation and self-respect. 3. Walking away creates silence. There is something powerful about silence. Not the childish silent treatment. Not ignoring someone to punish them. I'm talking about the silence that comes when you've said everything that needed to be said. You don't argue anymore. You don't defend yourself endlessly. You don't keep trying to prove your worth. You simply become quiet. And sometimes, silence forces people to confront something they were avoiding. Your absence creates a space where your presence used to be. And in that space, they may begin thinking. They may remember the conversations. They may remember the attention you gave them. They may remember the patience you showed. They may remember the opportunities they took for granted. But whether they realize it or not is no longer your responsibility. That's Stoicism. You don't walk away so they can think about you. You walk away because you have finally started thinking about yourself. 4. You stop playing the game. Many relationships become psychological games. Who will text first? Who cares more? Who can ignore whom longer? Who has more power? Who can make the other person jealous? Who can make the other person chase? If you participate in these games long enough, you lose yourself. The Stoic steps outside the game. Imagine someone deliberately ignoring you because they want you to chase them. Instead of chasing, you calmly continue with your life. You don't retaliate. You don't post something online to get their attention. You don't try to make them jealous. You don't send 10 messages asking what's wrong. You simply accept the situation. That is emotional freedom. Because now, they have no move that can control you. They can respond. They can leave. They can come back. They can ignore you. But your peace remains yours. 5. Walking away shows that you have options. This doesn't mean having multiple romantic partners. It means understanding that one person does not determine your entire worth. One rejection doesn't define you. One failed relationship doesn't define you. One person's opinion doesn't define you. One person's decision to leave doesn't mean your life has ended. When you understand this, desperation disappears. And desperation is often what gives another person power over you. You begin thinking, I must make them stay. I can't lose them. I need them. I'll accept anything. But Stoicism teaches something very different. You can appreciate someone deeply without becoming dependent on their approval. You can love someone without abandoning yourself. You can care without begging. You can lose someone without losing yourself. And when you reach that level of emotional independence, walking away becomes much easier. 6. Walking away forces them to face your absence. People often understand value differently when something is no longer constantly available. Imagine a person who always answers your calls, always listens, always helps, always forgives, always comes back. Eventually, you may unconsciously assume they'll always be there. But when that person finally decides to leave, reality changes. There is no more automatic access, no more guaranteed attention, no more endless forgiveness, no more emotional safety net. And suddenly, the person has to confront the consequences of their behavior. This is why walking away can affect someone's ego. Not because you're attacking them, but because you're refusing to continue rewarding behavior that hurts you. And sometimes, the strongest boundary isn't an argument. It's distance. 7. You become unpredictable to the person who expected you to chase. If someone expects you to chase them, and you stop chasing, they may become confused. They expected anger. You gave calmness. They expected begging. You gave silence. They expected endless explanations. You gave acceptance. They expected you to collapse. You continued living. That difference can be powerful. But here's the important part. Don't become unpredictable just to manipulate someone. Become emotionally disciplined. The goal isn't, how can I make them wonder where I am? The goal is, how can I stop making someone else's behavior determine who I become? That's a much stronger question. 8. Walking away protects your dignity. There are moments when staying becomes more painful than leaving. You keep accepting disrespect because you're afraid of losing the relationship. You keep tolerating manipulation because you're afraid of being alone. You keep explaining your worth to someone committed to misunderstanding you. But ask yourself, what exactly are you protecting? A relationship? Or your fear of losing it? There is a difference. Sometimes you don't need another conversation. Sometimes you don't need another explanation. Sometimes you don't need closure from another person. Sometimes you need to close the door yourself. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself to focus on his own character rather than the behavior of others. You cannot control how someone treats you. But you can decide what treatment you will continue accepting. That decision is yours. 9. They may miss the access, not just you. This is a difficult truth. When someone comes back after you walk away, don't automatically assume they have changed. Sometimes people don't miss you. They miss the attention you provided. They miss your availability. They miss your emotional support. They miss knowing they could call you whenever they wanted. They miss the comfort of knowing you were waiting. So if someone returns, don't ask only, "Do they want me back?" Ask, "What has actually changed? Are their actions different? Are they more respectful? Are they taking responsibility? Are they consistent? Are they willing to rebuild trust?" Because words are easy. Promises are easy. Apologies are easy. Consistent behavior is the evidence. A Stoic doesn't get hypnotized by promises. A Stoic observes reality. 10. The most powerful walkaway is the one you don't announce. You don't need to say, "I'm done with you. I'll never talk to you again. Watch what happens when I leave. I hope you regret losing me." Those statements often reveal that you still want a reaction. Instead, sometimes the most powerful decision is quiet. You simply change your behavior. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You stop explaining. You stop begging. You stop participating in disrespect. And you redirect your energy toward your own life. That's not weakness. That's discipline. 10. The most powerful walkaway is the one you don't announce. You don't need to say, "I'm done with you. I'll never talk to you again. Watch what happens when I leave. I hope you regret losing me." Those statements often reveal that you still want a reaction. Instead, sometimes the most powerful decision is quiet. You simply change your behavior. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You stop explaining. You stop begging. You stop participating in disrespect. And you redirect your energy toward your own life. That's not weakness. That's discipline. 11. Don't walk away to make them come back. This is perhaps the most important lesson in this entire video. If you walk away because you hope they will chase you, you haven't really walked away. You're still emotionally attached to the outcome. You're still thinking about them. You're still checking your phone. You're still wondering whether they noticed. You're still hoping they regret it. That's not freedom. That's another form of dependence. True Stoic detachment sounds like this. "I hope things work out, but I will be okay if they don't." That's power. You don't need them to regret losing you. You don't need them to apologize. You don't need them to come back. You don't need them to understand. Your peace cannot depend on their realization. 12. Walking away gives you back your time. Think about how much time people waste trying to control someone else's behavior. Hours spent waiting for messages. Days spent analyzing conversations. Weeks wondering why someone changed. Months trying to convince someone to appreciate you. Meanwhile, your life is moving. Your goals are waiting. Your body needs attention. Your mind needs peace. Your future needs preparation. Your dreams don't pause because someone hurt your feelings. The Stoics understood the value of time. Seneca wrote extensively about how much of life people waste. And this is something we should all remember. Every minute you spend obsessing over someone else's behavior is a minute you cannot invest in becoming the person you want to be. Walking away can therefore become an investment. You take your time back. Your focus back. Your energy back. Your life back. 13. Walking away reveals who they really are. Sometimes you don't know someone's character until you stop giving them what they want. Watch what happens when you establish a boundary. A mature person may respect it. An immature person may become angry. A manipulative person may try to guilt-trip you. A controlling person may attempt to provoke you. A respectful person may accept your decision. Your boundary becomes a mirror. And what they do with that mirror tells you something. This is why you don't always need to argue with people to discover their character. Sometimes, simply saying no is enough. Then observe. 14. You become harder to manipulate. Once you learn that you can survive someone's disappointment, manipulation loses its power. Someone says, "If you really loved me, you would." You don't panic. Someone says, "Fine, I'll leave." You don't beg. Someone threatens to withdraw affection because you established a reasonable boundary. You remain calm. Not because you don't care, but because you understand something important. Love without freedom becomes control. A healthy relationship should allow two people to choose each other freely. Not because one person is terrified of losing the other. The Stoic doesn't beg someone to stay. The Stoic says, "I would like you to stay, but I will not destroy myself to make you stay." 15. Your absence becomes powerful when your presence was valuable. Walking away doesn't magically make you valuable. You become valuable through your character, your discipline, your integrity, your kindness, your competence, your purpose, your emotional stability, your ability to stand alone. If you were constantly available but had no purpose, walking away won't suddenly transform your life. But if you have built yourself into someone with direction, confidence, and self-respect, then leaving a situation that doesn't serve you becomes natural. Your absence matters because your presence mattered. And your presence matters because you built something meaningful within yourself. 16. Sometimes walking away is the only way to hear yourself again. When you're constantly surrounded by someone's opinions, moods, demands, and expectations, you can slowly lose your own voice. You start asking, what do they want? What will they think? Will they be angry? Will they leave? Will they approve? Eventually, your entire life revolves around another person's emotional state. Walking away creates silence. And in that silence, you can finally ask, what do I actually want? What kind of person am I becoming? Is this relationship making me stronger or weaker? Am I being respected? Am I respecting myself? Those questions can change your life. 17. The ultimate Stoic power: you don't need revenge. This is where Stoicism reaches its highest level. You don't need revenge. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to embarrass them. You don't need to prove that you're doing better. You don't need to post pictures just to make them jealous. You don't need to tell everyone what they did. You don't need to destroy their reputation. You simply move forward. Because revenge keeps you emotionally connected to the person who hurt you. Peace disconnects you. The greatest victory isn't watching someone suffer. It's reaching the point where their behavior no longer controls your happiness. 18. What to do when they come back. Sometimes, walking away changes the dynamic. They may message you. They may call. They may suddenly become affectionate. They may say, "I miss you. I've changed. Can we talk?" Don't automatically reject them. But don't automatically accept them either. Pause. Think. Observe. Ask yourself, why did they come back? What has changed? Have their actions changed or only their words? Would allowing them back into my life bring peace or confusion? And most importantly, am I accepting them because I genuinely want them, or because I'm afraid of being alone? Never let loneliness make decisions that wisdom should make. 19. Walk away from what destroys your peace. There is a difference between walking away from every difficult situation and walking away from destructive situations. Stoicism does not mean running away whenever something becomes uncomfortable. Sometimes you must stay and work through problems. Sometimes you must communicate. Sometimes you must forgive. Sometimes you must be patient. But there are situations where repeated disrespect becomes a pattern. And when a pattern continues despite honest communication and reasonable boundaries, you have a choice. You can stay and keep suffering. Or you can leave. Walking away isn't always surrender. Sometimes it's the final act of self-respect. 20. When you stop needing their validation, their ego loses its power. At the end of the day, this is what makes walking away so powerful. Not the distance. Not the silence. Not the unanswered messages. Not the mystery. It's the internal transformation. You stop asking, "Do they still want me?" And start asking, "Do I still want this?" You stop asking, "Why don't they respect me?" And start asking, "Why am I accepting this?" You stop asking, "How can I make them regret losing me?" And start asking, "How can I build a life I don't need to escape from?" That's Stoicism. Final message. So if someone disrespects you, don't immediately react. Pause. Breathe. Think. Ask yourself what is within your control. If the situation can be repaired, communicate. If the relationship deserves another chance, give it thoughtfully. But if you've communicated clearly, established reasonable boundaries, and the same disrespect continues, have the courage to walk away. Not to break their ego. Not to make them chase you. Not to make them jealous. Not to prove that you're stronger. Walk away because your peace matters. Walk away because your time matters. Walk away because your dignity matters. Walk away because you finally understand that you cannot control another person's behavior, but you can control how much access that behavior has to your mind. Remember this. The moment you stop chasing what doesn't value you, you start making room for what does. And perhaps the most stoic sentence you can carry with you is this: I will not beg for what should be given freely. Let people misunderstand you. Let people leave. Let people change their minds. Let people think whatever they want. Your responsibility is not to control their perception of you. Your responsibility is to control your character. Build yourself. Strengthen your mind. Protect your peace. And when necessary, walk away without hatred, without revenge, and without looking back. Because the ultimate victory isn't breaking their ego. It's becoming so emotionally free that their ego no longer matters to you. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom, practical philosophy, and lessons on becoming mentally stronger. And remember, control yourself. Protect your peace. Know your worth. And never be afraid to walk away.